Hey everybody, we're back. It's Chuck Esposito and Jason McCormick here at Red Rock STN Sports for another segment of Bookends. We're early in the summer right now, but it's a fun time for us. You've got both the NBA and NHL finals, and start with the NBA. It's been really great. It's been fun so far. Handle's been great. Crowds in the book have been tremendous. You've got Kawhi Leonard and everything that Toronto's been able to accomplish. They let that second game get away from them. I thought at the end of the first half, the way that Golden State played, Curry just kept coming back, making those big shots. They cut those double-digit leads to 5 or 6 before the half. You knew that Toronto had to come out strong. Golden State goes on an 18-0 run. The rest is history. That series now sits 1-1 going back to the West Coast.
Yeah, and that's not a good sign for Toronto. I think that going to Golden State now, the Warriors are a 6-point favorite as we look into Wednesday's Game 3. Obviously, there's some question marks in that game with Thompson's hamstring banged up. We're still waiting on Kevin Durant, his calf, and where he's going to end up, and Looney with now separated shoulders out for the Warriors. So they've got kind of a mash unit going on there. But again, coming home to where they're super comfortable and could make Toronto feel very uncomfortable.
Right.
A lot of travel back and forth in this series, obviously with the long East-West coast going on. But I think that series 1-1 shapes up Toronto. I don't think there's that fear factor. I think that they were able to kind of give that punch in the mouth in that game 1 and feel good about themselves. So I think that we'll see a good series go on from here. Now again, if a Kevin Durant comes back and a healthy Klay Thompson, that might be able to put the Warriors over the top for a couple straight.
I felt Toronto had to win Game 1, and they did. I mean, of course, ideally, they would have loved to have won Game 2. They had just won 4 straight games against Milwaukee. They did beat Golden State both games during the regular season. I think the one thing, though, that really favored Golden State was the extra days. Even if Durant doesn't come back for Game 3, he's got that extra day now to rest. So by the time they play Game 4, he's even had more time. So I think if they announce he is going to play in this game, I think you'll see that number start to tick up. Handle's been great. Don't know how from our side of the counter. We kept the game under in Game 2. Betting public has played both games over. We were talking during the game. It was like, there's no chance. And at the end, that was the one kind of saving grace for our side of the counter. But the bettors did back Golden State, plus the points, and on the money line in Game 1. That's not the only finals, though. You've got the Stanley Cup Finals, which is 2-2 right now. Both teams have won on the road. It's been a fun series to watch. It's been physical. You've got a young goalie against a veteran goalie. Chara got hurt last night, which we don't know his status right now. Bennington and what they've been able to accomplish, St. Louis, the team with the worst record in the league in early January, they're playing for a Stanley Cup. They haven't been in the Stanley Cup Finals for 49 years, had never won a home Stanley Cup game in their history, which they did last night. That series, I think, is fun. It's a best of 3 right now, but the way that St. Louis can win on the road, I don't think it's a gimme to say that Boston's going to hoist the cup.
Yeah, obviously we head back to Boston for the pivotal Game 5, series being tied up 2-2. Rask has been outstanding. I really think St. Louis has been the better team. Boston has been unstoppable on the power play. I think their power play is hitting at like 30%. So St. Louis needs to stay out of the box. But they've been the better team 5-on-5. They're not intimidated as we go into a Game 5. You talk about that home ice advantage. They're not intimidated to go play in Boston anymore. This is shaping up to be a fantastic series. It won't surprise me at all if this goes 7. It wouldn't surprise me to see either team win on road ice. I think that
they've already done it.
I think this is shaping up to be a fantastic series, and definitely, the Knights aren't there, and we're talking about Boston and St. Louis, and a lot of you gave up on hockey a couple months ago. It's a chippy series. There's a lot of nastiness going on. Chara took a puck in the face. He wasn't able to come back in Game 4. Likelihood that he's on the ice in Game 5 is high. Hockey players have a mental toughness to get through those type of things, but if he's not, that opens up things a lot on the back end for St. Louis to exploit that Boston defense. So don't miss out on this series. Even if you're diehard Knight fans and Blues and Bruins doesn't kind of whet your fancy, take a look. This is a really good series.
I think piggybacking on what you said, you look at the 2 games the Blues won, they outshot them by 14 and 15 shots. That's pretty impressive against a physical defensive team like Boston, but Boston's defense is already a little bit depleted. If Chara's not there, I think it's a big loss. But similar to the NBA, you have the extra day there. You had the Game 3 was on, or Game 4 was on Monday. You don't play again until Thursday, so it gives Chara that extra day to come back. But it's been a great series, really good handle on that. And it's fun. Stanley Cup Finals, you'd love to see the Knights in it and everything we generated last year, but if not, you look at the Blues, a team that hasn't won the Cup before in 49-year drought. I mean, it is just fun. Their fans are pretty passionate, and it's fun to watch. But
that Boston championship city, the Patriots are the Super Bowl winners. The Red Sox are your current World Series
Yeah.
champions, and now Boston wants to lift the cup. So there's a lot of championships being lifted in the Boston area.
Beantown, right? But it's not just the NBA and NHL right now. There's so many other things going on. We're not even to the midway point of baseball. The baseball draft was yesterday. We had a couple of kids from UNLV.
Yeah, not only UNLV, but actually local high school players. Desert Oasis, Bryson Stott, the young man who does play for UNLV, was drafted 14th by the Phillies. And Nick Quintana.
They've got a nice Vegas connection now with Bryce Harper as well, right?
Nick Quintana, who played here at Arborview High School, now attends college in Arizona, was drafted 47th by the Detroit Tigers. So some good local talent coming out of here, out of Vegas, entering Major League Baseball.
And I think with that said, a lot of teams were hesitant to sign those two big free agents out there in Kimbrel and Keuchel. A lot of rumors that Keuchel's going to go to the Yankees, which will affect a lot of things. You look at the Yankees, their bullpen is so dominant, they needed another starting pitcher. They get Keuchel, it just makes them that much better. Interesting to see where Kimbrel goes. If it's the Phillies, the Braves, the Cubs, a lot of teams in on him right now. I think that really needs some help on the back end. That could affect some futures as well. But we also have the Women's World Cup up. We've got the College World Series, French Open, women's softball. There's so many different things on the board right now. Even though it's not football season and the height of our real busy time of year, there is a ton of things going on. So it's so great if you can't get here to have the STN mobile app for all those different sports.
You're not kidding. I mean, we are booking, I think about dodgeball, the ESPN, the Ocho.
I love that.
Obscure Sports Quarterly. We are booking everything under the sun, from the College World Series, which we're not even in yet. We're actually going to the Super Regionals, where we're at 16 teams. We're booking all of those regional games. The College World Series is coming down to the end, and women's softball with Oklahoma and UCLA, and it's been fantastic to watch these games. And Major League Baseball speaks for itself. I think the big surprise team for me there is the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, the Dodgers have the best record in baseball. The Twins have the second best record in baseball, but they've got the best run differential. They're scoring more runs versus what they're giving up versus anybody else. On top of that, you've got Women's World Cup starts June 7th. Over in France, which will be fantastic. It'll be a lot of early morning games. Make sure you have the app. You won't have to come down to the book and be able to play all those Women's World Cup games. You've got the U.S. Open June 13th going off in golf, and the Masters was fantastic, and PGA was fantastic. So I think that we're looking forward to another really, really good golf event. It's shaping up to be a great summer.
It is, and for you horse racing fans, we don't want to forget about you guys. You can still get the app and play the horse racing side as well. We've got Belmont coming up this weekend, and it's not just about that race. I think it's a wide open field, similar to the Preakness, which we had a tremendous handle on. You can make a case now in some of those exotics to add some of those bombers. I think the first two horses are probably going to be in that 4 to 5 to 1 range. After that, it's 15 to 1 or greater for the rest of the horses. So some great prices. They've got a lot of really good stakes races at Belmont on Saturday. So come on in, have some fun with that. You can play it on the app, and if you're in the book, we'll be offering a $15,000 Twin Q for $2. You can win $15,000. And as we can both attest to, we've both had some individual winners at our properties before for some of these big race days. So come on in, have some fun, you guys. As Jason mentioned, so many things on the board. Such a great time of year. Get signed up for the mobile app. Play from the comfort of your own home if you can't get here. We love it when you guys come out. And
we've got the 10% bonus on the app, so earn up to 10% of your deposit amount when you sign up for a new account. And the other thing is, yesterday we opened up, obviously talking about the Stanley Cup this year, but we actually opened up next year's championship odds. Golden Knights at 6 to 1. They're the second favorite, only to the Lightning in the Eastern Conference. So if you're already excited about next year's Golden Knights run, come in and get your NHL futures for next year.
I know I am. I mean, just watching Boston and St. Louis, it got me fired up.
You talk about the draft. You talk about the NHL draft every day.
I do. So I'm definitely a hockey nut. I think we both are. But it's good to be back with you guys, and we'll be doing a lot more segments throughout the summer. And of course, once football season rolls around, there'll be a couple of weekly segments at the conclusion of the weekend, and then leading up into Thursday's games as well, with a lot of great information. So we'll see you guys soon. Have a great week. Enjoy both the NBA, NHL, and everything else on the board, you guys. Good luck, and we'll see you guys next week.